What's going on, everybody? LK here, and today I want to actually go back and talk about something I haven't talked about for a while, what I like and don't like about Guilty Gear Strive right now. So last time I did this, it was still kind of during the heated period of this game is really new. I think I did one right after the first online Evo, so the game was kind of fresh. We've had Season 2 since June. Right now it's November. So I want to talk about what I like about the game right now and what I don't like about the game right now. And as usual, let's start positive. Okay, so first is the characters. So when the game came out, I believe we started with 15 characters. Right now we have 21 characters. So 5 DLC characters from Season 1 and then 1 additional one from Season 2. At the beginning, the only new characters really were Giovanna and Nagoriyuki. So besides them, there was a bunch of characters from every Guilty Gear game. Characters like the best, the coolest character, Milia, Chip Zanoff, Sol, Kyle, Mei, Zato. We've seen these characters many times before. With returning for the first time in a long time, Anji, a couple of Exert exclusives like Leo and Ramathal, right? But at this point, with the DLC, we have, I mean, outside of like Baiken, so Baiken, I should say, and Jacko, because Jacko is from Exerd, Baiken is in every game. We have HC who's new, Gold Lewis who's new, and Testament who hasn't been in the game since XX. And again, like I've said before, many people were shocked at Testament. So like I just really like the characters in this game now. I think the game is way more robust as far as character choices and playstyles. If you want mid dispensers or your typical Shotos, you got them here. You can flail, you have a puppet character, you have a couple of mix technical characters, you can whiff buttons, you can throw items. There's a lot of playstyles you have, and they keep expanding it, and they are willing to bring back characters who were not in Exerd, which I think is a really important thing outside of having brand new characters original to this game. Testament aside, I think Bridget is a very good addition as well, specifically because she's coming back not having been in Exerd. So it's not like hard for me to recommend characters to people, and if you are willing to try the game out for a little while, there's probably a character for you where at launch you might have felt like it was a little dry because there were just a ton of mid dispensers and people who just play like mid-range neutral, where now there's some more options as far as characters, plus there's more stuff you can do in the game in general. So 2 is the Roman cancel system. So the Roman cancel system has continued to develop between us just getting better at the game and figuring out more stuff over time, and certain changes they've made to the system as well. So as a quick review, unlike Exerd, the Roman cancels in this game have an area of effect for the slowdown. So they have to be basically in range for it to work. So if I do any type of thing, she's not going to slow down at all. But if for some reason I'm close enough, then she'll be affected by the slowdown, which is quite different from the previous game. So on the way of how we use meter from a system perspective, one of the biggest changes is to fast Roman cancel. So they had this last version, but they made 2 big changes that I think definitely affect the game quite a bit. One has to do with how much meter you keep. So if I do a normal Roman cancel, you see like my meter just goes to 50 because Roman cancel costs 50 meter. Where if I do a fast Roman cancel, you'll notice I keep a chunk of my meter. I think the maximum you keep is around like 15 meter. This encourages more ways to use RC. Then the other big change goes to what happens when you are like nearby somebody when you're doing fast RC. And this is actually pretty big with both of my characters, Baiken and Milia. So in Milia's case, she has Bad Moon Roman cancel. So that's an instant overhead. But if you use fast Roman cancel, you can layer another mix-up into it. But the issue was in Season 1, when I found this, was that you couldn't really get a good combo off this mid-screen. Or if in the case of overhead, you couldn't get a combo at all. Where in the corner, so usually you'd have a situation like this, where you'd get like a throw, you would do this, and the wall is like already juiced up already, so the wall would break really fast here. So now, because of the slowdown, you can now do a type of combo of fast Roman cancel that lets you keep the meter as well as layer 2 mix-ups. So if you notice here, Baiken kind of floats for a little bit. So that's new to this version. You can actually let the slowdown be applied on the fast Roman cancel and then fast Roman cancel anyway and keep going with your either offense or combo. So I kind of like the RC system because it's not the same as it was in all other Arc System Works games, and I feel like there's more we can explore. So a good example is Baiken actually has this technique called BRC Yozansen, just what we call it for short, but she has a way of baiting anti-airs by, instead of doing this, you can do this and BRC drift downwards and hit people's anti-airs. So if you do it properly, Milia is doing these anti-airs here. So if you time this right, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could do it either by drifting away. You can do it by drifting down too. Drifting downward is a little bit more difficult to do. Both of these methods can hit anti-airs at the cost of meter, discouraging people from anti-airing you, which opens up how you approach even more ways. Then, as far as how they've been like changing the game, generally as far as like how the characters have gone, I feel like characters have gotten like new stuff and new properties on their moves rather than drastic changes, with a couple of exceptions. And there's an example of a character that I felt like got a lot of changes, not specifically buffs, where like Baiken, it's a lot of like tweaks to her moves that put together make her a lot stronger. And then finally, I think the balance changes so far feel less random. The first couple fighting games I played were like Melty Blood, Akadenza, and Actress Again, along with BlazBlue, and anyone who's played, especially BlazBlue, patch after patch, we're just kind of like, who's going to be D tier this time, who's going to be top tier this time, we don't know. Like, you would legit have a patch where 2 characters are like S tier, and then next patch are like C or D tier. Like, you really just didn't know what they were going to do. Where in Strive, it seems like they're a bit more measured. It feels like the middle of Dragon Ball or so, where like it seems like they're really thinking like, hey, what can we do to these characters to make them good and make sure that everyone has fun, rather than like throwing changes at a dartboard like in the old days. So next, let's talk about things I don't like so much about the game right now. So one, I feel like since there's no like 25 meter options, a lot of the strong options on this game is locked behind 50 meters. So once you get 50 meter, you become really, really, really strong. Now, the problem is twofold. So the problem is some characters just build meter way, 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 way faster than others. So Baiken is a really easy example where like if she just hits you with a combo or like throws you, she's going to get that meter super, super fast. Baiken's B&B, for example, if you do just like the standard pattern, like I'm already almost at 50 meter, and that is not including us naturally playing the game and building meter. Of course, that's like her point blank B&B, like I'm starting with close slash. That's not that common, you know? It's more common for her to get other types of hits. But if you think about like the type of hits that typical Baiken players fish for, like IDGS and stuff, it just leans into she builds meter really, really fast. Then comes the other side of some characters have enough life plus guts that they build meter while getting hit while also being strong. This Nagoro Yuki really leans into this, probably like the most out of the strong characters. Leo also falls in this lane. So I feel like characters who aren't good at building meter, like Milia for example, really struggle in this regard, because like in Milia's case, she doesn't build meter fast and she has low life, so she doesn't have the opportunity to get 50 meter as quickly as characters like Ram, Baiken, Nagoro Yuki, Zato, characters like that. 2, of course, has to be Guard Crush, but I've talked about this so much, I'm not really gonna go into it. Plus, to be fair to the mechanic, even though I am not a fan of the interaction, it is much better than my least favorite stuff from Exert, like Danger Time and Tech Buttons. So I won't go into super detail on Guard Crush this time. You can watch my many, many videos on the mechanic. I probably have like 4 videos on the mechanic, plus also talking about Gold Lewis a lot. Then finally, this actually ties into a point that I like about the game. So since they tend to give characters new stuff or tweak properties rather than like change them outright, I think the meta is kind of stale for a lot of people. Like, I find the game kind of fun, but characters like Ramathal, Elio Whitefang, and Nago have been really strong since the game has come out. And I'm sure, and I see it all the time when I read it too, that like people don't like seeing the same characters being good and don't like seeing the same characters perform well all the time in tournaments. I am having plenty of fun with the game. I will definitely admit that before I switched to Baiken, I don't feel like I was dooming about the game. I was kind of just dooming about like the character and how I just felt like I couldn't push anymore, and that's really where my feeling came from. It wasn't really a problem with the game per se. As usual, if you guys have any comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.